What's going on, guys? It's Mr. DEBT Joe Lorick from the Money Etiquette Group, and today I want to talk really quickly about the jobs report that was just released. Okay, it's speaking about last month's job numbers, and the news headlines and what you're going to see over and over again, it's going to speak to 20,000 jobs added, or only 20,000 jobs added to the workforce. And think about that for a second. The estimate was 130 to 160,000, and it came in at 20,000. But to me, that's not the most important detail that I found within the jobs report. Okay, that's nice to talk about. It's sensationalized by saying, okay, it's a short month and we added less jobs. And if you look at the cycles of the economy, you understand that that was coming. Maybe not that low, but you expected some type of slowdown. But my issue is not about 20,000 jobs being added. My issue is about the details, and the devils are in the details of this report. Let's go over a little bit. Hispanics, they saw their unemployment rate drop from 4.9 to 4.3%, which is good, Those who have less than a high school education saw their unemployment rate drop from 5.7 to 5.3%. So again, these are people who have less than a high school education. Their unemployment rate dropped. Those who are standing on the sideline, discouraged workers, or what they call them, those who work part-time and refuse to enter the full-time market, or those who just weren't working at all purposely, those individuals decreased. That number is decreased from 8.1 to 7.3%. So more people are deciding to work. But and overall, if you didn't know, the unemployment rate dropped. Yet, with all that being said, Black unemployment increased. I'm going to say this again. Black unemployment, the only segment of the population, increased. They're the only segment of the population that saw an increase. Black people. Black unemployment increased. It went from 6.8 to 7%. Mind you, in November, it was 6%. Might have even been closer to 5 if I'm off a little bit, but nevertheless, it's at 7% now. And that's Black people overall. Black men are at 7.2%. 7.2% unemployment rate for Black men, while the nation is in the 3% range. 7% overall for Black people, while the nation is in 3% range. In every other segment, unemployment is decreasing. Yet, it's increasing for Black people. And then people wonder why so many people are speaking when it comes to political campaigns, when it comes to presidential campaigns. Why the question is, what is your Black agenda? Not what is your agenda for minorities, where you can lump a lot of people in. No, Black people want to know, I want to know specifically what you're going to do to address this issue. Because when a recession comes, okay, let me let you know something. This is a little secret. When the nation starts a recession, Black people are already in a recession. In fact, if you look at Black unemployment rates, you can tie that into when a recession is coming and when it's ending. When you see a great separation between Black unemployment and white unemployment, a recession is usually started. When that gap tightens, it's usually the end of a recovery and the beginning of a recession. So the closer we get, the more likely that a recovery is ending. The wider it's spread apart, the more likely that we're actually in a recession. And the gap is increasing. But let's use the excuse, Black people need to go to school. They need to get more degrees. Well, according to this report, that's not so. Because those who have less than a high school education, their unemployment rate decreased, while Black unemployment still increased. So understand, anyone that's listening to this, when you see people talk about spending Black dollars within the Black community where Black people hire Black people, this is why. When you hear about people talking about Black empowerment from a financial standpoint, ownership empowerment from a financial standpoint, understand this is why. It's not a hate for another group. I'm not upset that Hispanics and their unemployment rate has decreased. I'm not upset about that. I'm not upset that white people, white Americans' unemployment rates are decreasing. I'm not upset about any of that. I have an issue with black unemployment being the only segment of the population, black people in unemployment increasing while everyone else is decreasing, and it not being tied to education. Again, it's not tied to education. That is what the report would suggest based on the numbers. So again, what I've been doing for years when I speak about, and I've been speaking really hard on financial literacy, this is what I want black people to understand, where we are in the economy and why it's so important to have a good handle of your finances, why it's so important to reduce your debt, especially now as I see a recession coming, because you know who's going to be hurt the most? Black men like myself, black people like myself. We're going to be hurt the most when the recession starts, because we always are. This is why when you hear people bring up the conversation of reparations, why it's legit and it matters. Because why is that the case? At one point, people would have said because black people are less educated. That's not a fact. In fact, black women are the most educated people in the United States. So we know it's not education. What is it really? What it really is okay, it's very simple. Black descendants of slaves, okay, slavery, and then second-class citizenship affects us up to this day. It affects the black community. It's the reason that we're at the bottom of every recession. It's the reason that our recessions start while you're still in a slowdown. While the country's in a slowdown, black people are in a recession. And then we just let you guys know that a recession is coming, so y'all can get ready for what's already impacted us. Now, I'm not here to speak as a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not speaking in that manner. If you know me, again, I've written about this. I've been preaching for the last 10 plus years how to get out of debt, did everything but think, how to just become stronger in your household from an economic standpoint, how to not be only worth $2,000 like the average for the black household in the United States. I'm speaking about it because I see what's coming, a storm, another recession. And I want as little or as few black people to be hurt as possible, because I know that's who needs the most help. So again, it's not a lack of love for anybody else. It's a love for self. And at this time, it's more important than ever to make sure that we support each other, because obviously the country is not supporting us. And for the Make America Great Again talk, for all the black people are doing great, say black people are doing great after this. Yeah, we had record lows in unemployment rates, but we were still the highest unemployed. And you can't say it's because of effort. You can't say it's because of education. Clearly, it's not about education, when again, those with less than a high school diploma, their unemployment rates are decreasing, while black men and black people are increasing, especially black men. So again, guys, that's what I got from the report. I want to see more news networks talk about it. I want to see people talk about it. 20,000 added is not as important as there's a segment of your population that's seeing an increase in unemployment versus everyone else. Remember, your only strongest is your weakest member. If we're the weakest financially, understand when this next presidential run comes around, that's why we're asking about reparations. That's why we're asking about a black agenda, not a minority agenda, a black agenda. Because these numbers clearly indicate what's going on. And they've always done that way.